What round are we in? I think it's 8, right? Yeah,
It's a
8.
great question.
Alrighty, I am here with Antoinette, and I believe we are in round 8, so we're doing a round 8/9 confessional. So, Antoinette, first question I have for you is, um, we got the I think earlier in the round, you there was kind of an exchange in the main chat between yourself and, well, I guess Sandy and then yourself. So kind of talk about that. What happened there? What was going on?
Yeah, so the real answer to that is I don't know. I don't know why Sandy decided to start having this obsession with me and what I did or supposedly did, like round 2 or 3 of this game. Um, so basically, what happened is he quote unquote called me out in the main chat or the house chat, whatever you want to call it. Basically, being like, hey, so like you know how you like didn't want to put a target on Marcelo, Nick, and Jeremy's back, but like you did that when you said to me that like they were talking about Jester on the call, and I was like, okay, first of all, that's not what I did. At that point in time, because it was round 2 or 3, I was still aligned with Sandy, and my perception of it was, hey, Sandy really likes Chester, so I want to let him know about the fact that people were talking about Chester on a call that Sandy and Chester are not on, because that would make sense to do, because like I'm aligned with Sandy and I know Sandy liked Chester, so like why wouldn't I tell him if people were throwing out Chester's name? Um, and apparently, the fact that the three of them, Nick, Marcel, and Jeremy, were talking about it means that I was targeting them and making them a group, which, like, no. Uh, like, yeah, like, it can come across that way, but the fact of the matter was, like, at that point in the game, I was very closely aligned with Jeremy. So I very much did not put a target on their back. And if that's how it was perceived, that's how it was perceived. But it's also Sandy, and I don't trust a word that he says. So I don't know. But the thing about like them talking about Jester was the fact that like I think Nick was more so leading it because I think Nick and Jester had some kind of bad blood from another game or something like that, and Nick was kind of comparing it to this game because Jester had lied about how he voted, and like Marcelo and Jeremy were like agreeing with it, and they were just kind of like, yeah, it's shady, whatever. But the thing that was bothering me was the fact that like Nick was leading the conversation, and the fact that it happened multiple times, even after or during a round that Jester was safe. And I brought that up because like I was like, I think it's irrelevant. I don't see the point in this of why Jester's being brought up because like he's safe. So like why does it matter? So it just kind of bothered me that I was being brought up. So clearly I was going to say something because that was what I wanted to do because I wanted to be open with my allies about it. Um, and more specifically Sandy, because I knew at least Sandy and Sam, I think Zach as well, also had a good relationship with Jester. Um, and that was something that I wanted to bring up because I was like, oh, well, if the three of them seem really close with Jester, um, and I'm aligned with the three of them, like it would make sense that they had been and were talking about me to Jester, and I was like, that could be a number on my side in the future because like I felt okay with Jester but wasn't sure. Anyway, beside the point. But apparently, I was called out for putting a target on Nick Marcello and Jeremy's back for calling them a trio, which sure, I don't fucking know. And I think my whole issue with it is the fact that like why is that what you're gonna bring up? Because like that was rounds ago, it was weeks ago. It doesn't make any sense now because two of the people who were involved in that so-called trio were are no longer in this game. Um, so I don't really see the point in it. I don't understand it. I don't understand why he just decided to do that. But like, I don't really care. Um, it is what it is. I've been called out in games before but like for actual stuff, because it's something that's not this kind of situation. So I generally know how to handle these situations, especially in this situation when it's something I do not believe I did. But again, perception's perception, and like if that's the way he saw it, then sure. But I think he's also just trying to call me out to call me out.
So let's talk about the last vote that you were attending. Um, you received 2 votes. Ultimately, Dre was eliminated 5-2. So you were on the right side of that. Uh, I know you have this little pendant here. Was there thought about playing that? And then once you saw your name, were you kind of getting a little nervous there once they were revealed on the votes, or did you feel fine kind of going into that?
Yeah, so with the last round and Drake going home, um I had already known that I was getting votes. I was very much considering playing my Pendant of Power just because I I had to put trust in people that I didn't really fully know if I could trust even for one round, if that was the case. And I didn't really know like where I stood with those people on like a solid trust level, because like it made sense from other people's perspective to not vote me, but then it's also like, well, I don't know who people are aligned with and things like that. So it was very much going back and forth on debating if I should play by Pendant and Powder or not. And a large part of me didn't want to play it because I'm also like, I feel like this seems very early to play it, because I don't want to play it now, misplay it, and then have to use it down the line and not have that protection. So there were a lot of things going back and forth, but throughout the conversations I was having that day with people like Seamus, like Slade, like Marcelo, I became much closer with Marcelo after Jeremy got voted out, but people like Seamus and Slade, like I was very unsure where I stood with them. I'm still kind of unsure, but I have a little bit of a better feeling, question mark. Um, but I was very much not sure about that vote. And the fact was, like, yeah, I mean, you always get scared when you see your name. Like, that's just it. It is what it is. I would have been scared if I saw more than 2 votes for myself, because the 2 people who voted for me were Dre and Sandy. At least if someone else voted for me and has been lying to me this whole time, I eat my words. But but I knew for a fact that I was getting votes. I would have been more afraid if it was more than 2. But I ultimately made the right decision not playing my Pendant of Power because I'm still here. Um, but those votes definitely came from the fact that Sandy has been trying to target me and is absolutely obsessed with me for some reason, which isn't good for me because I don't see a world where I get much further in this game. But I'm trying my best. But yeah, I feel like that's all I have to say about that.
So you mentioned, getting closer with Marcelo, and I popped in on a call with you and Marcelo today, and I believe you revealed, that you have the pendant to Marcelo. So talk about that decision, and is Marcelo the only person that is aware of your pendant now?
Yeah, so this entire time I've had the pendant, I haven't told a single person, and Marcelo is the first person I have told and the only person that I've told at this point in time. Um, I I don't know what like I don't know what in that moment in my brain that I was like, I should just tell him, which because I could be very wrong, and I I don't trust anybody in this game 100%, especially after my name has been out there and like shit like that. So it's very hard for me um, to try and find people I can truly trust, and I feel like the closest I can get to that is with Marcelo, and I don't want to be naive in saying that because I really, really hope he's with me, and I do believe he is. But I've been fucked over by close allies, number ones, ride or dies, whatever you want to call it. I've been fucked over by these people in so many other games that I've played where it turns out that like the people I'm working closely with are like working closely with somebody else, and like I'm actually not their number one, and it's happened to me multiple times. So if it were to happen, I honestly wouldn't be surprised. But I'm really hoping. I have faith that it was the right choice. But I I honestly don't know at this point in time. But he is the only person that I've told, and which is crazy to me because I totally thought that I would have told somebody about it sooner. Because I've never had a power or an advantage in any kind of game that I've played. So I did not think I was gonna be able to not tell anybody for this long period of time. But it very much like I'm surprised at myself for being able to hold it in this long, but I think I'm also like stressed and concerned about telling him at the same time, and it's it's like something that's going through my head, but ultimately like what I want to believe is that it was the right decision.
Um, so you were on the winning team this round, but I want to talk about, I believe it was some sort of Skittles competition. Sandy won the trendsetter, and he set up the teams Peace, Love, and Skittles.
um,
And
yeah.
you were put on a team with Delaney and Seamus.
Mhm.
So I didn't get to catch your guys' escape room. How did that go? Obviously, it went well. You guys won. So how does it feel, being safe? And then are you trying to influence this vote, even though, you are one of the three people that are going to be safe?
Yeah, so before I talk about the actual challenge itself, I do want to bring up the fact that, Sandy's obsession with me, he had to make me sit out of the trendsetter comp, so I couldn't even compete for my own safety. Not that I think I would have won anyway, but just the fact that, like, he really said that you don't get to play, and he really thought that that was a move. But that's really funny because I can't win a challenge to save my life. So, um, I don't understand like why it's like I kind of understand, like I do understand why it's me he's after, but it's also like why are you making such a big deal out of it for no reason? Like you could easily target me and not say anything like out loud and publicly, because I personally would not do that ever. Um, but I thought it was really funny that he said, "You don't get to compete," and thought that that was him doing something. But so I, with being put on a team with Delaney and Seamus, like I said, like the round before, I was kind of uncertain with Seamus and like where I stood with him and things like that. So I think that was an interesting dynamic, even though like after being put on teams was after the Dre vote. Um, so I felt a little more comfortable with him, but I honestly was not sure still at that time. Although I'm slowly feeling more confident about my relationship with Seamus. But again, like I said, I don't trust everybody 100%. And the fact is now I know that Seamus does have a power, and he hasn't told me about it, even though I opened up about my other power that I have about the extra vote. So it's like it's still an interesting dynamic to me. And then there's also Delaney, which is an even more interesting dynamic because I voted for her on the last live night, the round that Jester went home, and she very much wants my head on a platter for all I know, and that's totally fair. Like I don't care. Again, like I said, I've been able to deal with it before, um, but it's a very interesting dynamic because like I have nothing against her. We just don't talk game. We don't talk strategy at all. So like I don't see a world where we work together. Um, but I know we had a common. I don't know what the word for it is, but kind of like a common goal of wanting to be safe and winning that challenge. So I think that kind of drove our elimination, or not our elimination, our challenge. I don't know where that came from. But within the actual challenge, I thought it went really well. We all three of us worked kind of well together because we all just kind of focused on the challenge and the task at hand, and we were able to figure out like the clues and stuff very quickly. So I think it turned out well for us. Clearly turned out well for us, and specifically for me because every round I'm not safe, I'm going to get targeted, and I know that. I'm aware of that, but like work, that's cool with me. So I'm glad to be able to be safe this round because there was a high possibility, a high chance that I could have been going home this round if I was not safe. So I'm very happy about that. So I think all in all, at least for this round, not including the elimination this night, it turned out okay.
So, you being safe, are you still trying to have influence on the vote at hand, or are you kind of like, I'm safe, I'm going to sit this one out and let whatever happens happen?
Yeah, you did say that, and I did not answer that question.
No worries, no worries.
So, with every round, especially now that my name has been out there, I'm very much not trying to influence the vote, and I'm not trying to um, be the person dictating what's going on in this game because, first of all, I don't have that kind of power to even do that. But it's just like I I like to be included on things, especially because most people on the so and so other side of this game don't talk to me at all or don't talk game to me at all. So it's nice to sometimes have people to talk game with and be able to actually know what's going on, even though I am safe. Um, so I would say personally, I'm not trying to influence the vote because one, I don't have that power. Two, I'm safe and I'm not trying to put a bigger target on my back because right now I feel like every round I need to focus on saving myself before I can try and do anything else. Um, and will I still be here for that long to actually influence votes in the future? Who knows? But for right now, I am definitely not.
So I believe you guys have a live night tonight, right? Yeah.
Yeah, tonight and
Live
tomorrow.
live night tonight and tomorrow. So a lot of jam-packed fun for you guys in the next coming nights. Obviously safe going into this vote at the top of this live night. Is there something that you want to accomplish after this vote? Like, say there's an elimination tonight after this vote. Is there somebody that you're going after? And how do you think you're gonna, I guess, get what you want to happen to happen?
Hi, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Okay,
you.
I'm so sorry. It cut you off in the middle of your question. I don't know what you said.
Yeah, so I was just basically saying, live night happening tonight. You're safe for the first portion. Is there a plan that you have kind of going in for the second portion? Is there somebody in mind that you want to go for, or kind of run through like the live night plans, I guess, for you on your end?
Yeah, so first round I'm obviously safe. I'm not voting, and like I said, I'm not trying to like influence anything like that. So, um that whatever happens kind of happens, and the fact of the matter is I'll still be here. So that's all I really care about currently at this point in time. Um Even though like I think what might happen in the first vote is Jackson might go home. That's not ideal for my game, but at this point, it is what it is, and it is also like I need to focus on myself first. Um, ultimately, what I would like to see happen tonight, at least in the second vote, is somebody from the trio of Sam, Sandy, or Zach were to go home. I think the issue with that is the fact that all three of them, I believe, have won challenges. Um, yeah, all three of them have won challenges, and it's kind of hard to predict what's going to happen, and you can't really know until somebody wins and until clicks are made or not made, depending on if clicks ends this round or whatever. Um, it's very hard to predict what's going to happen. Ultimately, in a perfect world, one of them would go home, but and one of them would go home that's not somebody that's not me, because no. But I feel like if someone on my like so and so like side ends up going home tonight, then I'm slowly more and more screwed, if that person is not me. So it's it's very up in the air just because you don't know who is going to win and what's going to happen, if there's going to be clicks, if there's not going to be clicks, if there's going to be multiple people saved. Like, it depends. But ultimately, if there are still clicks next round, I may or may not use. I'm still debating on using my power during this round, but power is an extra vote. But I may use it if there are still clicks next round. I can still use it next round. So I'm still kind of going back and forth on that and what I should do with it. But the plan basically is to not go home.
It's always a good plan to have in place. Yeah, so those are basically all the questions that I have for you. I guess I want a prediction, I guess, for you on whether do you think the next round is clicks or individuals? And when do you think the jury is going to begin?
If you would have asked me a few hours ago, I would have said that I thought clicks would be ending this round. However, Slade brought up a good point about the fact that even though whenever jury starts, normally they still have clicks in place for that first round of jury before like the last round of teams or clicks will be when the first jury member is starts jury. um so which I did not realize, and then I actually started doing my own research and I was like, oh, that's actually a good point because I didn't realize that that was a thing. So I if I were to take an educated guess, I would think that clicks would end next round, and jury would also start next round at final nine, because that's also his not yeah, I guess historically is the right word. um it's also historically when the jury tends to start in ascendance with a cast of 19 people. It tends to be a jury of 7, final 2, so starting at final 9. That's what I can hope and pray for, because I really, after going through all of this drama and all of this shit, these past few rounds and this entire game, I would love to make jury, and that's honestly my goal at this point. Like, I'd love to get to the end, but I don't see a world currently where I can do that. So that's what I'm hoping for.
There's always a way to get to the end, I think. But thank you for doing your confessional. Unless, Antoinette, you have something else that you want to mention, then we can continue. But if not, I can stop this recording for you.
I don't think there's anything else I want to say. I think I pretty much covered it. I just ultimately I just want to be here and I don't want to get voted out, but it's gonna be a wild ride for me regardless, because I know that again every round I'm not safe, I'm going to get targeted. So yay.